customers all over the world, Meganite has been a solid partner since 1976. For over 40 years, our focus has been on solid surface materials, pigments, and resins. The Meganite fabrication trainings are developed and taught by leading American solid surface craftsmen with over 25 years of solid experience. Now we hope you will please enjoy these trainings.
Today we're going to be working with the Meganite Movement collection. This collection is a little different than our other colors because it is a veined collection, so it has a directional vein running through the sheet. So I'm going to show you some different techniques when doing deck seams that will give you a fluid movement through the deck seams and give your customer the best possible product that you can deliver. First, we're going to start off with parallel seaming. Parallel seaming is because all the veining is going in a parallel direction. So the veins on this sheet, if you look at the back side, is all going in this direction. On our main run of the kitchen here, all the veining is going in this direction, parallel to the first piece. The next seam is what we call a perpendicular. This time the seams are running perpendicular to the main kitchen that I just showed you. So they're running perpendicular. They're going to run opposite of what you see there. And then the last piece is going to be a 45. This is veining running in this direction, different than this piece here where the veins are running this way. So when we pull all these seams together, we should get a nice fluid vein all the way around. So in the next segment of this video, you'll see this all seam together with solid surface adhesive, and we'll see how the flow works and see how our finished product will look. Okay, as I said, we are going to go ahead and pull our seams together with some seam adhesive on this Meganite Movement series. So as you can see here, we start off with that parallel seam that I talked about. We've pulled it together, and as you can see very nicely how well it blends. Now this had the veining going in this direction and the veining go in this direction parallel to each other, and nicely and naturally these are two different sections of the sheet, but by taking a little bit of time we're able to line up those veins and make it flow naturally through that and make it look like it's all one piece. Now in the center section here, again, remember our veins are going in this direction. So now we're moving to the perpendicular seam. So we've got veins moving in this direction and veins moving in this direction. But still, by taking a little bit of time, we end up with a very inconspicuous seam here because we've kind of book matched those veins to make it look very, very natural. As we come around the corner here, we end up at our 45-degree or miter seam. So as you see here, my veins are going in this direction and my veins are going in this direction. Put those together, and when you stand back and look at it, it really flows nicely because we've got the natural fissure or natural veining that all blends together. Again, different sections of the sheet, but because of the way that we put it together, it gives it a very natural flow, a very good look, and that's why we call it a movement series. Okay, now that we've looked at the surface of the deck and we can see how nicely it's flowing, how we've got the really good movement of the veins going through there and it's very inconspicuous, I want to show you how conspicuous the actual backside of this sheet is. So when you look at it, you can see how dramatic the veining is here. So again, here's our parallel seam where I have this piece seamed parallel to the veins in this being our seam. You can barely see it on the back side here, but you'll see I put everything parallel, making them all flow together, giving it a nice one. To show you the difference here, again, we've got all the seams running in this direction, and then we're running perpendicular with this piece here. This being our seam here, which shows you the dramatic difference between the two sheets here. As we round the corner here, you can see as we go into our miter seam or 45-degree angle seam, our veins are running in this direction opposed to this direction. When we flip it all over, again, we end up with a very nice piece that ends up with a very nice movement around the corners and all the way around the sheet, giving a very, very natural flow, letting the veins and fissures flow naturally, and giving your customer a very nice end product. As with the deck seams, the Meganite Movement series has some special precautions or best practices that we use when we're building our edge treatments. So here I'm going to show you 3 different options of how to do an edge treatment to give you the best appearance with the veined appearance or with the veined aesthetic that we have in the Meganite Movement series. So first we're going to start off with what we call a V-groove or a miter seam. So this can be done on a V-groove machine or on a miter saw. This is how we built this one. We use a piece of packing tape that creates a hinge. We'll fill this fully with adhesive. We'll pull it up, clamp it into place. This is the best option that you have when doing a veined material because you have a full surface over here on this edge flowing into the deck surface with no interruptions on the edge. So we'll go ahead and fold that up, seam it together. The next option is what we call a butt seam. Some people will call it a turnover seam or turnover edge. And this is one piece that's turned and butted to the underside of the deck. By doing so, we're gluing here. So we've got the surface of the material here, but we end up seeing the edge of the material here. So unless we're going to put a real aggressive edge on that, we're going to end up seeing a little bit difference in the material. But because of the aesthetics of the vein, it may turn out all right. Still, this is going to be your best option. This would be the least favorable. The next option that we're going to show here is a laminated or a stacked edge. This is pretty standard. It's going to be your deck piece, a piece of the movement material glued to the underside of that, another piece glued to that, butting into our inside corner support blocks here. So we've done the offset seam method here with the support blocks in the inside corner, support blocks on the inside corner here, and as with all solid surface, our seam is right here, so we have to have a seam plate on the underside of that seam. So I'll go ahead and we'll put our seam plate in there. When we come back, we're going to have this all glued together. I'm going to have it finished, so you'll see the differences in the appearance of these different styles of edge treatment. Okay, we've taken the pieces, we've glued them up, we've finished all the edges that I talked about before and actually put a final finish on the entire piece. So we've taken this up to a semi-gloss, almost a higher gloss, making it look more like a natural stone like your customer would probably expect. Being a darker color, don't want to bring it up too much. That can cause some issues down the road with fingerprinting, but we think we have a pretty good sheen on here. So as I said before, we started off with what we believe is the best appearance edge, which is going to be your mitered edge. And if you look here, you'll see we mitered this or V-grooved this, folded it over, glued it up, and we've got a really nice transition from the edge up into the deck where this actually, you can see the veining flows nicely right down into the face of it. And then right here, we've got our drop edge or turned edge or butt edge, some people call it. So we've got a piece glued up to the bottom of the deck here. You can barely see a little bit of difference between the deck and the surface of the edge. We think this actually turned out quite nicely, but this is one of our least favorites. So again, going with the V-groove for the favorite edge. Then we go over here, we've got our stacked edge or laminated edge, which runs all the way around. So this is the deck plus 2 pieces laminated to the underside, which gives us a really nice flow. You can see how the veins flow nicely across here. It's done, it turned out extremely well. So even though this is a directional material with a veined, it's very easy to use. Just take a little extra precaution. You'll end up with some really nice edges for your customers just like this. So in summary, when working with Meganite Movement, if you take a little extra time, not too much, work on getting your seams laid out, take the extra steps to do the proper edge treatments, you'll have a nice finished top that will give your customer what they expected. Number one is building that customer expectation. So show them some samples of your deck seams, some samples of the edge treatments, and how it will look as a finished product. And we think overall you'll really enjoy working with the Meganite Movement collection.